Hey, this is Carrie from Wrap Your Head Around Silks. This is the Expecting Aerialist podcast, now with the Digitant family of podcasts. How's it going, guys? Thank you so much for tuning in. Before we get started, a little housekeeping. If you are interested in teacher training, Silks Level 1, June 24th and 25th. Today, Tuesday, it is the last day of our early bird pricing. So if you're already have it in mind, and if you are listening to this pod the day that it drops, just get in by the end of the day. But you do have still time to register between now and June. It's just the regular pricing. Hope you guys are excited about that. As excited as I am. I'm really pumped. The textbook is coming along quite well. And also aerial rehab, if you guys are coming back from pregnancy or an injury or surgery. It's my very micro progression program to help you guys back into the air. All right. Today we have Dr. Janae Davis. She is our favorite gynecologist out of the Ohio area, from my hometown, actually. She is, she's the best. She is hilarious. Buckle up for her to talk all about contraceptives. I have I did not know even a quarter of the stuff. So get excited, get educated, and to laugh. All right, my friends, let's get started.
How are you?
Little emotional today, honestly, but it's okay.
Oh no. Oh, what's wrong?
Well, I don't know. Me and Bean are both emotional. She's been crying a lot. I haven't been crying, but I feel very emotional. I can't even explain it.
That's okay. We're allowed to feel emotional. We don't apologize for that. This is what we do today.
So yeah, I'm a little emotional, but it's okay. It's, you have to convince yourself that everything's fine sometimes.
Girl, listen. Girl. You don't got enough time for that. I'm going to cheer you right on up.
Sometimes I have to convince myself that everything's going to be all right. I mean, me and my partner are in this time of our lives where we're investing a lot into a house that we bought, and we're renovating it. We don't have cash coming in to it yet, because we're going to Airbnb it. So it just feels a little heavy.
It's a time suck, but I tell my daughters, nothing in life everything costs something, whether it's emotional cost or financial cost or partnership cost or whatever it is. You're never going to get away without it costing something. So this cost you have evaluated, hey, we're going to put the finances here to give us financial freedom later so that we can really invest in each other and bond and think about how our future is going to go. That's the cost of jumping out on faith on your, the betterment of your relationship and for your daughter. So that's the cost of it. If it didn't cost nothing, everybody would do it. You got this. You got this.
I know. This is true. And wait, distracting me from my life problems. How was your vacation? Where'd you guys go?
Girl, went to Cancun. My daughter was killing it. Just looking fabulous and feeling fabulous and just, I know, she's 19 now. And I was like, we're going to go on a mother-daughter trip. This is going to be great.
And you, were people like, is this your older sister to you?
Girl, I wasn't getting no holla. This was at a family-friendly resort. Wasn't nobody trying to, get it right, get it too tight. I can't be acting too crazy out there with my 19-year-old, because I was her back when I was 20. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, since I've talked to you and put your last podcast out, there has been a lot of chatter about Dr. Janae.
Oh, okay, Dr. Janae, I love it.
Dr. Janae, can you ask Dr. Janae this? Can you ask Dr. Janae that? Because they're like, I didn't know the fallopian tubes weren't connected, blah, blah, blah. I didn't know. So I have a couple of random questions for you if we can even get to it. But I want to go to contraception first, because that was our main goal today.
Okay.
But yeah, there's been a lot of, well, can you just ask her to talk about blank? And I was like, actually, Dr. Janae is not just, I put a quarter in her.
Yes, it is. Listen, we're here for as long as these laboring patients let me sit down. I only have one person in labor. I told them, don't be calling me unless the baby is falling out. I am doing a podcast. Do not bother me right now.
No. I mean, they want to know about, let me ask about menopause. Let me ask about abortion. They want to know about everything. And I said, Dr. Janae is not like, I just can't put a quarter in. I just get whatever I want out.
That's okay. We'll talk about it all. I'll be in a better emotional space one day to talk about all of those things. So yeah, there we go.
Okay. So contraception.
Yeah.
You would think at this point in my life, I would understand a lot about it, but I just don't. I think in my life, I've used two types, either condoms or the pill. Okay. And I haven't gotten on anything again, which I'm going to, but I just don't know. Like, I want to put this thing up there and have it live there forever. I don't know the difference between copper and not copper. Like, I have no idea. There's no place to plainly find this stuff out. So if you could start where you like to start, because I know you talk about this stuff all the time.
Yes, and I love talking about it. The reason I love talking about it is the first part of the conversation. Well, it comes in two parts, right? Depending on who's talking. So sometimes there's a 12, 13, 14-year-old who shows up with her mom who's like, you're going to get on birth control and blah, blah, blah. And then there's a, 27, 28, 29-year-old who's like, you know what? I'm done kind of winging it. I want to be in a position to really have powerful choice in my life. And then there's somebody who's my age, 44, like, mother of God. Well, I don't want to do that right now. What would happen if I did? My kids are in college, so everybody's in a different place. Some people don't want it. Their mom wants them to do it. Some people do it for power, like for control. And some people are like, my God, this would be horrible for my life. So that range of conversation, I just love because it is giving a woman, a girl, a relationship, a couple choice, like to be able to decide what it is and when it is that they want to. And I usually tell my patients the same speech, which I'll give here, which I think is decently easy to understand. So the first part of the conversation is, how is it that we don't get pregnant? Depends on how it is we're tricking our body. We cannot get pregnant by making a big wall between eggs and sperm so that they don't connect to each other. We can make a situation where we trick our bodies into thinking that we're already pregnant so that we don't shoot eggs off, so we don't have to worry about whether there's a wall there or not because we're not shooting eggs off. Or we can permanently remove the option for them to ever get together anyway with tubules and things like that. So the first thing that you need to understand is there's two parts to a cycle. There's the first half in somebody who is being typical, once a month-ish, having a cycle once a month, a bleeding episode. The first half, 2 weeks, you have estrogen in your system, which is priming your nice fluffy lining to be ready to get an egg and sperm to implant into it. So you're growing a lining with estrogen. Midway through that, you're going to shoot an egg off because you got to a certain level of estrogen that said, ooh, right now, at this level of X, I'm going to shoot this egg off. That's about for 3 days. Then for about 12 to 14 days after you shoot that egg off, your body switches hormones into something called progesterone. And that comes from the ovary where you shot the egg off, that there's a cyst on that ovary that shoots out progesterone to make it so that you do not bleed that lining off, just in case there's a slow sperm around there that wants to join with an egg and hop into this nice happy uterus with this fluffy lining. If after 12 to 14 days, nothing happens, no egg and sperm got together, no hormones are going out to say that I'm pregnant, our body sheds that lining off and we start again. So 12 to 14 days, estrogen, whoop, ovulate, whoop, progesterone, bleed. Estrogen, ovulate, progesterone, bleed. Estrogen, ovulate, progesterone, bleed. Estrogen, ovulate, progesterone, bleed. This is very routine and uniform for a lot of women, which is why the only time that you can get pregnant is right in the middle when you are actually ovulating, when you're shooting an egg off. So the time beforehand when we're building our fluffy lining, and the time way after that when we're just maintaining a lining, those are not the time that egg and sperm can get together. So people get confused a lot because they're like, I can get pregnant every single day of the month. No. You can really only get pregnant a certain time of the month. That's why some people use natural family planning, which is avoidance of any sperm around the time that I have an egg. Natural family planning only works when you are having a regular cycle where I know for sure this is when it is I'm going to ovulate. For somebody who has a regular cycle, every 27, 28, 29 days, every single month, every single month, every single month, every single month. Who is it that uses natural family planning the most? a lot of people who do it for religious reasons, right? Catholics. I say, do you think that Catholics are more ignorant than the entire rest of us using other types of birth control? Or they just get 9 or 10 babies on accident? That's what happens in Ohio. Huge Catholic families. Those women do not want to have 9 or 10 women any more than anyone else does. The reason why natural family planning does not work for people is not because people don't know how to count. It's because it's based on retrospective data. Retrospective means I am gathering data from something that happened in the past. If I have 12 to 14 days of estrogen, ovulate, 12 to 14 days bleed, the only reason that I know that I ovulated 12 to 14 days before I bled is because I bled. And then I know that 12 to 14 days before that, I ovulated. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
The only reason I know that I ovulated 12 to 14 days before my period is because I had a period. Now, what happens to a person who gets a cycle normally on day 28, day 28, day 28, day 28, and then all of a sudden they get a cycle on day 24? They ovulated 12 to 14 days before that, which was really day 10, 11, 12, and not day 14, 15 like they typically do. And it's too late. They had sex. They ovulated before they knew they were ovulating, and they got pregnant. Janae Davis, who is the queen of gynecology, on my second child, ovulated on day 11, and my normal ovulation day was day 15. I was trying to get pregnant, so it was no big deal, but that would have been horrifically impactful to me if I wasn't trying and I was only doing natural family planning. The other thing that people do for natural family planning is say, okay, no worries. I'm going to check my cervical mucus. Do you hear about this? I'm going to wait and see, like the first half of the cycle during estrogen phase, you have discharge that's kind of watery. Here we go. Let's talk about discharge, my favorite. I have some watery discharge. That means I am having estrogen in my system. When you're going to ovulate, you get this stringy, snotty, slimy, gross mucus coming out of your cervix. Hey, sign me up for that, right? We get kind of more excited. Our partner doesn't make us quite as mad. We watch a little sexy movie. We're like, hey, you ready? You got 5 minutes? You know, because we're ready for them 3 days that we're ovulating. The last half during progesterone, you will have a creamy white discharge, and then you will bleed. Water, snot, white, bleed. Water, snot, white, bleed. Water, snot, white, bleed. The snot is when it is that you are ovulating. So people are like, no worries, Janae. I'm just going to do natural family planning. Check my mucus, girl. I know in my mucus. I'm happy for you, except for the fact that sperm live in the system sometimes for up to 96 hours. So while your happy behind was checking all your mucus snot, you had sex with your man back 4 days before because y'all had some wine, and now you got living around sperm, and you're like, mother of God, snot 3 days early. Oh my God. Yes, and you get pregnant because natural family planning is based on retrospective data. So I tell people all the time, it's totally fine if you want to do that. Just be okay getting pregnant because it doesn't work all the time. Nobody's ignorant who doesn't know when their cycle is. It's because your body tricks you and doesn't tell you you're going to ovulate early. That's the problem. The second time that is my biggest pet peeve for people saying, I'm doing natural family planning. I'm breastfeeding. B, you ain't doing no natural family nothing. You're breastfeeding. You're not having a regular cycle. You cannot tell me when you're ovulating if you haven't bled for 6 months, 8 months. That is why people that are breastfeeding ovulate spontaneously, don't know they did, and show up talking about, I can't lose this baby weight. I'm like, you know why, B? Because it's a baby. You're 20 weeks. You didn't even have a period. Okay? That is natural family planning. So that is the thinking about it, birth control. So I forgot to mention, I'm going to think about it really hard here and try to do some birth control. That don't work. If you want to do some natural family planning, squirt some spermicide up there. Do something. Have them have happy time on the outside. Happy time on the outside, girl. Like, getting pregnant up in here. Okay? Okay, so there's that. There's natural family planning. Okay. The next option for people would be, hey, you know what? I do not want these sperm to even touch this egg. So I want to have sex whenever I want to. Have at it. I just don't want them to connect to each other. So we can do things like spermicide. I'm going to shoot some spermicide up my vagina and make it a toxic environment for these sperm to come in here so that it doesn't go up into my cervix and get around this and get into this egg. If you're going to use a spermicide, a lot of people say, I don't want to use spermicide because it's kind of, messes up the moment. We don't really like it. I have to leave it in for a certain amount of time. You definitely want your partner to have a condom on. But for some people who are not interested in having hormone in their system, then okay. You know what I mean? Like if that's what you choose to do, that's totally fine. You can do that. Another form that's a barrier is a diaphragm. It is a flexible, looks like one of those poppets that kids use where they turn it backwards and sit it down and wait for it to pop. You know what I'm talking about? It goes super high.
Yes.
That's what a diaphragm looks like. Girl, it's like a backwards poppet. So you pop it and then you bend it in half. You shoot some spermicide up there. You shove this diaphragm up there before you try to have any shenanigans. You make sure it's sealed in your vagina. You have to get fitted for it because everybody's got a different size vagina. If you have 12-pound babies and 6 of them came out of there, your vagina is different than my little 14-year-old's vagina, okay? You have to get it fitted so that it fits appropriately and properly. If you have children, you need to get it refitted in between your children because your vagina has changed shape and size. And then you would use that. Not too many people use it. It's less than 85% effective. So whenever somebody is using a diaphragm, they are doing that usually in conjunction with natural family planning, and they avoid intercourse altogether during their potentially fertile week.
So the diaphragm basically creates like a door that closes.
It don't really close. It's hoping that it's cracked and you put some tape around it and you tried to like shove on it because the winds from Wizard of Oz, girl, was trying to blow that door open and you was leaning on it as hard as you could and y'all run to the basement. The wind. You're hoping and praying, girl. That's a lot of on the knees hoping and praying. God love people who say, I've used a diaphragm for how many years? Good for you, hun, but that don't work for most people. So it is not a reliable birth control method, but it's one that is non-hormonal. So a lot of people who choose not to have hormones in their life might want to do it. I think there literally might be 1 or 2 companies in the United States who even make diaphragms anymore because they're so not common to use.
Okay.
So then, so that's your barrier. So then we have, hey, let me trick my body into thinking that I'm already pregnant so that I don't shoot an egg off anymore. Because from the time we're like, 12 till we're about 52, 53, our body thinks that we are trying to get pregnant every single month. The only time that we are not having a cycle is when we're pregnant. So if I can trick my body into thinking that I'm already pregnant, I don't have to shoot an egg off. This is great, right? Then I don't even have to worry about whether a sperm gets into my system or not because I already am not shooting an egg off. So I can have 69 million sperm up in there. Get what I'm saying? Who cares? There's no egg. That can only happen with hormone. You can only trick your body into thinking that you're pregnant by giving you hormone that makes you turn off the hormones that are coming out of your brain that are telling your ovary to shoot an egg off. We do that in a multitude of ways. We can give you different doses of estrogen and progesterone, just like we talked about the normal cycle has estrogen, ovulate, progesterone, bleed. I can give you very low levels of estrogen and progesterone that mimic pregnancy so that your body thinks you're already pregnant. You can do that in many ways. A pill. You can take a pill every single day at the same time because it has about 28 hours, 29 hours worth of medicine in it. So if I miss it by a few hours, it's okay. But as soon as I miss that medicine or I run out of that medicine, does my body think I'm pregnant anymore?
No.
So it says, oh, shit, I'm not pregnant. And then you'll shoot an egg off. That is why people miss 1, 2. I only missed 1 pill. I can't believe this happened. Believe it, bitch. You didn't take the pill. Your body thought you was trying to get pregnant. It shot the egg off. That's why it's not a super reliable method for people like Janae Davis who leave her kids at daycare without a reminder on my phone. Okay, I can't remember to pick my kids up. Let alone take this pill at 8:30? What time is it? I didn't get my coffee. It's noon. Ugh. Also, your body will start spotting. People are like, oh my gosh, as soon as I forget my pill, I'll start spotting. You'll start shedding your lining off because you're withdrawing off that progesterone, that second half of that cycle we talked about right before you bleed. Your body's like, oh, I'm done with the progesterone. Let me bleed this lining off. That's why people spot or bleed whenever they miss their pill. You can also get that for people like Janae who can't remember it and say, you know what? That daily crap, that's a lot. So why don't I take the same medicine that's in this pill and put it into a patch? I can stick this patch on my body once a week. So the same medicine that goes in a pill that goes through your stomach, I can put on a patch that goes through your skin. It makes people less nauseous because I don't have to swallow that pill. And I'm less likely to forget it if it is stuck on me for 7 straight days. But I have to change that patch once a week. Then for people who still forget more, Janae Davis, they made a NuvaRing, a flexible vaginal ring that's eating estradiol. Same kind of medicine that's in a pill, but it's flexible like the cord of your computer. That's how flexible it is, and about the same size. It is about as big as if you took your index finger and thumb and had a little bit of space there and made a ring. You bend it in half and you shove it in your vagina. If it's in there, it's working. This is not like a diaphragm that you have to seal and spray spermicide. It's not how it works. It works by having contact with your mucosa inside your vagina, and that medicine will go into your skin through your vagina. It is not liquid. It is not leaking out like water. It is literally opened up to the sides of your vagina, and then that medicine goes into your system and your bloodstream and tricks you into thinking that you're pregnant. I tell girls, they're like, can I feel it? Oh my gosh, I don't want to put it in there. It's your vagina, okay? Stop acting like it's some like space that nobody can touch. You asking a penis to go in there, ain't you? You can't put your finger in there and check and make sure your ring is in there, okay? So what the blank ever, okay? And for those
I literally have not asked you any questions. I'm just laughing.
Okay. This is my speech. I'm like, hey girl, we gotta talk to this brother. So you bend this little thing in half, you shove it up your vagina, and just like a tampon, you know when you put your tampon in and you're like, shoot, I put my tampon in, and then you kind of shift around in your seat. After about 20 minutes, you're like, what tampon, girl? Because I'm the queen of shoving 2 tampons in there on accident. Because I forgot I had a tampon in, and I like, did I get that tampon out? I gotta go try to find this tampon. Anyway, it's like that. You don't even feel it anymore because it opens up to the size of your body. A couple times a month when I would wipe, I might feel the edge of my NuvaRing, just like if I'm like my tampon would come down a little bit and you wipe, you just shove it back in there. Okay, fine, NuvaRing. If you're really funny about it and you're like, I just can't have this NuvaRing in there while I'm having sex, whatever. Because literally some guys say it's a little something extra in there. They kind of like it, just so you know. You can take it out, rinse it off, dry it, and sit it on the counter for up to 2 hours, and then replace it after you're done. If you don't want to do that, which most people don't, just double check in your vagina, make sure your ring is still in there. Because girl, people done found it behind the couch, girl, up underneath the bed and the sheets all over the place, and then flipped the NuvaRing. Somewhere was like, oh my God, 3 days later, there's my NuvaRing. I'm like, girl, you haven't had your NuvaRing in for 3 days. So you just got to make sure after any activity shenanigans that you be double checking in there, make sure the NuvaRing is still in there. And as long as it's in there, you would leave it in for 3 weeks, take it out, have a period, put another one back in for 3 weeks, take it out, have a period. That's amazing way. So some more hormonal ways. So we talked about the pill. We talked about the patch. The pill is daily. The patch is weekly. The NuvaRing is monthly. You can do a shot, which is called Depo-Provera. You can do that once every 3 months. Eventually, people on Depo-Provera, it does not have estrogen in it. So people who have contraindications to estrogen, like hypertension or blood clots or strokes, can still get this as a birth control method. You get a shot every 3 months, and eventually it's going to make your lining essentially completely go away. So over 95% of people who get the Depo don't have a cycle at all, which is amazing. So they're like, girl, I did not even want a period. People haven't had a period for 10 years. That's awesome. People, I don't think it's natural not to have a cycle. Girl, I'm making you not have a cycle. We're trying to outdo our brain here, okay? We're making you not have a cycle because your body thinks you're pregnant. It doesn't need estrogen to make this big lining. And if I were to do an ultrasound, I see a tiny little thin stripe, not this nice fluffy lining that's growing Jumanji in your uterus. There's nothing in there. It's like a flat piece of paper in your uterus. There's nothing. So you're not bleeding because there's nothing in there. That is the opposite of bleeding because you grew Jumanji. So calm down, everybody. Depo is totally
Jumanji.
Fine. Yeah, you know, girl, you know.
Janae, I have a really silly question.
Yeah, girl.
Before you tell me the other ways to put hormone in your body.
Mm-hmm.
If you are on this shot and you don't have a period and you don't have eggs shooting off for 10 years of your life.
Yes, wonderful.
Imagine like 5 years later and you do want to get pregnant. Do you just have like more eggs in there?
No, they just kind of dissolve and go away over time. Like they're older and they get our ovaries just kind of shut down. So if I started Depo when I was 15 and I stayed on it till I was 50, I ain't about to get off of it and then get a period till I'm 70. It's just menopause age is menopause age. You're still going to go through menopause.
No, I mean, does it make you like, in a way, do you have more eggs to pick from? Nope. Your body to pick from?
Nope.
If they never got shot off?
Nope. Because they're just getting older and older and they're less and less good over time. So they're getting older and older and less good over time. So no, you don't have.
So it doesn't matter. Yeah.
It doesn't matter. And when you think about the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands and millions of eggs you started with, how many cycles? What's 12 times 30 years, you know, that's not nearly as many as the eggs that you have. So it's such a small percentage that it doesn't really matter.
Well, I'm glad I asked that because I would have been thinking about that.
Yep. Now, the one thing that is significant about Depo is if you've been on Depo for more than a year and you decide you want to get pregnant. So my patients that come and see me, they're like, hey, we're thinking about wanting to get pregnant within the next, 6 months to a year. I say, hey, why don't we get off Depo? That is sitting in your system, into your muscle, and it can delay future ovulation way better. I'm air quoting better than a pill, right? As soon as you miss the pill, it's out of your digestive system. You're done out of it, but a Depo stays in your system. So people who want to get pregnant, I want them to be able to get their cycle back so that we can see what's going to happen with them. So I would say, hey, let's get off your Depo year in advance and switch to a pill or something else that we can have better control over when it is that you'll spontaneously ovulate again. Does that make sense?
And with something like the pill, because I've heard a lot of rumors, like you have to be off of it for a couple months. No.
But after this talk, you know that you can be off of it for how many days and get pregnant?
1.
That would be 1. So no, that is not true. Why people want to get off of it sometimes is because they want to know what their cycle length is so they can plan when they want to get pregnant. So my teachers, for example, always, and I'm like, go for it, girl. They're always trying to figure out how to get the maximum time for summer plus 12 weeks of maternity leave, right? So they want to get pregnant so that they would have their baby right when school starts and then get their extra 12 weeks off. So they want to know, what is my cycle doing? How many days apart is this? So I know what day to have sex so I can get pregnant during this month. Does that make sense?
Ugh. Smart, those teachers.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, girl, let's calculate this out. But you don't know until you have a couple months, how long is my cycle? My cycle, Janae Davis's cycle, is 23 to 25 days long. Well, that sucks. Sometimes I have 2 a month. But my sister has a cycle that's 35 days apart. We're both normal, but we ovulate at completely different times in the cycle, right? So you have to know what is your cycle length typical for you, because you're using retrospective data to decide when it is that you want to have sex during these ovulatory time. That only happens when you know how long your cycle length is. When you open up one of these free apps that says, hey, my ovulation calculator, it'll say, the first question they say is, how many days apart is your cycle? Day 1 to day 1. If it's 24 days, they're going to tell you to have sex a week earlier than somebody whose cycle is 30 something days long. Your window is a completely different window. Does that make sense?
It does.
People think that everyone's cycle is 28 days because honestly, it looked right on the pill pack. There's nothing special about 28 days. Anything from...
That is amazing. I never thought about that.
There's nothing special about it. I can make everybody's cycle on a pill pack 35 days if I feel like it. I can make it 40 days because I just like the number 40, but that was my number, my jersey number. It don't matter. We are tricking your body every day into thinking that you're pregnant. So I always tell them, they're like, right before my period starts, I feel XYZ when they're on a pill. I'm like, there is no such thing as PMS on a pill. I could just make you take the same pill for 90 days straight. Your body doesn't know you're not taking this pill. The only time it knows that you're not taking the pill is when you stop taking it. And then it bleeds your lining off. Does that make sense? So when people say, I want you to...
So that's just in my brain, like I'm just emotional then, in that case?
Yes. If you're on a pill. If you're not on a pill, you're not being emotional. You're being a completely normal ovulating female. That's all. So progesterone phase right before we end up, if you were born female, right before you are falling off that progesterone, several things happen. You feel bloated. You feel emotional. You're hungry. You hold water weight in your system. You're freaking exhausted. You cry for no reason. All of those things that I talk with girls about. So they'll come in their mom, she just turns into just terrible right before her cycle. I want her on pills for that. I said, first of all, we ain't apologizing for being human up in here. Okay, we are created universally, spectacularly. Thank you. So just because we have an estrogen, ovulate progesterone as we fall off that progesterone, and we're asking our entire system to switch from one hormone that comes off our ovary to build a lining. We don't apologize for the fact that we have some fluctuations in the way that our body is responding to our normal and natural fluctuation of our hormone. The problem happens when you're getting ready to get fired because you punch Janice in the face at work every day, right during that month. You crying at the board meeting, for example, you're giving a presentation, you can't get your face under control because you're overwhelmed by that. That's whenever it's impactful. But I tell moms who bring their daughters in here, don't come in here acting like she has to apologize or fix her face for all these other people if it's not affecting her. If she wants to go have some quiet time in her room and put her headphones on and cry a little bit in her pillow, that is totally fine. She's allowed to do that for a few days. She can't come out of a room and spew Mount Vesuvius at her brother and punch everybody, okay? But if she needs a minute, then let her go have a minute, because we're all allowed to. I don't apologize for that. I don't honor that. I don't allow people to come in and tell girls they have to fix their face for no doggone body. Like, we are who we are. So, for example, when I was on oncology rotation, it was a very emotional time for me. I'm dealing with people with cancer. I don't get any sleep. I'm working 120 hours a week in residency. I knew that I, Janae Davis, during my coming off progesterone phase before I would bleed, did not do well with that. I was extremely emotional. So I, during that 3 months, got on birth control pills to zonk that out so that I could keep my face together for my job and for myself, to maintain a level of control that I needed for myself. I didn't do it for other people. I did it for me. And so we do not encourage girls to apologize for feeling some kind of way because they're having a normal fluctuation in their progesterone, period. End sentence. Hard stop.
I love this with you.
Well, I'm just saying. And don't be doing that to a girl when she's 12. Because remember when I was 12, hormones are all over the place. There's blood randomly falling out of your vagina. Okay. You don't even know when you're going to start your cycle. Your skin is a mess. Somebody's making fun of you for something. You're trying to fit into a peer group. You have body image issues. You can't figure out if you're too big or too small. You don't even want to eat your lunch in front of other people. You're struggling with depression or anxiety. You're trying to get on a team. Some stupid track coach picked out bunners for track outfit and you're a freaking flat A cup called snake hips, Janae Davis, when you were in school and you felt self-conscious about yourself. You know, like, give me a break. There's a lot going on. So the last damn thing we need to do to our girls, thank you very much, is have them come home and then act like they have to pretend and put a face on for somebody else because they're on their damn cycle. So no, we don't do that. We do not do that. We honor that, hey, you know what, if you're feeling some kind of way, I'm going to call you down for dinner if you need a minute. And we honor that sometimes people need a goddamn minute, okay? And that's just that. That's probably why I'm divorced 3 times, but damn it, I need a minute, okay?
How do you not, like, punch out some moms in the office?
I tell them exactly that. Oh, excuse me. I'm not getting ready to start her on birth control because you got a problem with her attitude. Little queen, tell me how you're feeling. And then I don't even talk to the mama no more because we ain't in a pediatrician visit. We're talking about how you feel about yourself, how you feel about what's happening with your life. That's why some people who have their tubes tied get on birth control pills anyway, because their fluctuation of their hormone is too much for them to deal with. And I always ask, is it too much for you to deal with, or is it too much for mom, boyfriend, girlfriend, teacher, who is telling you that? If you're telling that to yourself, let's talk about it. If it's somebody else, fuck them. Like, I'm not here for it. I am not here for that. We don't be apologizing about how we was made. Divinely and queenly made. We don't be apologizing about that.
By the way,
my kid.
Also, because the tube tie episode that we did,
yeah,
I have friends calling me and they're like, I decided I'm not going to get my tubes tied. No one explained it to me like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it. I would never do it for all the reasons that I said. But yeah, but there's people who don't like the way they feel. They don't like the way they feel themselves if they are not smoothed out every single day on the same dose of estrogen and progesterone every day, instead of having estrogen, ovulate, progesterone, bleed. Estrogen, ovulate, progesterone, bleed. Estrogen. I still, even though I have my Mirena, which we haven't even talked about, and I'm so sorry, like, I still cycle. I just don't bleed. So I still get pimples like I'm a teenager for freaking a week. I'm like, God bless America. I'm doggone it. I know I'm getting ready to start my cycle. And then I get bloated and I eat a whole bag of Lindor's chocolate. I'm like, bitches, who ate all my Lindor's chocolate? Oh shit, it was me. I reached my hand down in the bag, there ain't nothing but wrappers. I'm like, I know I didn't sit here and eat 15 Lindor's chocolates. But yes, I did, because that's my 3 days. I'm all sad about my kids, but the rest of the month, girl, I don't give a who. I'm ready to go. But those 3 days, I know that I'm on, and I do not apologize for that. My staff knows she's just going to be in her office and be a little bit more quiet, and that's fine. Girl, please. Oh, sorry. You want probably me to keep going about the IUD?
No, I do. I'm so, because the thing that I want to know about is the IUD.
Yeah. Well, the one last thing though, so the Depo shot, and then there's something called Nexplanon too, which is a little implant that goes in the arm that still only has progesterone in it, and it lasts for 3 years. That's something different. So That's the same thing. Hormones, tricking your body into thinking that you're already pregnant. So that's what you need to get. I'm making a barrier. I'm going to trick my body and think I'm already pregnant, or I'm going to create an unfavorable environment for pregnancy. Oh, I forgot the first one. I'm going to think real hard about it. Okay. Think real hard about it. Make a barrier. Trick my body into think I'm already pregnant, or make the space really not favorable for baby. The make the space not favorable for pregnancy is your IUDs. IUD means intrauterine device. Okay. So there's two types. One is a hormonal type. One is a non-hormonal type. I'm going to really try to keep my snarkiness to a minimum because I'm so pissed off.
Bring it out. Pull it out. I want to know.
Pissed off about how it is that we buckled. When I say we, I'm acting like the medical community buckled to big pharma, because IUDs have been around for a bajillion years and they are very safe. ACOG, American Congress of Obstetrics and Gynecology, first line recommended birth control for teenagers and for essentially everybody, because they are long lasting. You don't mess them up because you don't have to forget them that they're there. They're cancer risk reducing with endometrial cancer. Excuse me. They are wonderful options for people who have abnormal bleeding. Excuse me. And they're just great. So basically there was a company that started with IUD that they said could only be used for 5 years. They asked the FDA to approve them for 5 years. Well, Europe had been using them for 8 years, for 50 million years. It was a progesterone-based IUD. It's a piece of plastic. So I'm not talking about IUDs from the 60s. There were these corkscrew things that had metal and all this crap. We're talking about 2023. Okay, everybody get over it. Your grandma's IUD was a hot wreck mess. Ain't nobody talking about that. We're talking about plastic that has no sharp edges on it. It is a plastic flexible T that is impregnated with levonorgestrel that gives off a certain amount of levonorgestrel, progesterone, into just the local lining of that uterus over an extended period of time. In Europe, it was for 8 years. In America, the FDA approved it for 5 years, even though there was plenty of data to say that it could last for 8 years, because, whoa, my gosh, before Affordable Care Act, we actually had to pay for it. And guess how much it cost? That's at about $1,200. So even though it was the best option for birth control for people, somebody wanted you to change it every 5 years instead of 8 years to be able to get more money. Once the Affordable Care Act happened, other companies were like, F this, we're getting ready to turn up, we're getting ready to make another IUD, progesterone only, that was the exact same thing as the Mirena IUD, which was the one that we had on market. And then once Liletta, other companies made it to the 5 year mark, they said, you know, we're going to ask the FDA for 6 years. Exact same thing. So they asked the FDA to approve them for 6 years. FDA gave them approval. Mirena was like, we want 6 years too. Then when 7 years hit, we want it too, because this company was fighting to try to say they were the longest lasting IUD. It's been in Europe for 50 million years. I've told people a million years, if you leave it and not having a period, it's totally fine, because people were having to pay cash for it. It's ridiculous. Anywho, that IUD has progesterone in it that goes local to the uterus. If I put it in your knee, you would have progesterone in your knee. If I put it in your uterus, it's only in your uterus. If I put it in your forehead, you're going to have it in your forehead. It is not sending systemic hormone into your whole body to trick your body into thinking that you're pregnant. You are still going to ovulate on this. You are still going to cycle on this. The way that it works is the progesterone phase. Remember, it is going to trick your body into tightening that lining down with no estrogen so that you don't build a fluffiness. You only have lining that is super, super, super thin so that it does not have a spot for an egg and sperm to implant into. If you don't have a nice fluffy lining, it doesn't matter if an egg and sperm came through your uterus. There's nowhere for it to implant into. So you don't get pregnant that way. So people are still ovulating. Please be clear. This is not an abortifacient. This does not disrupt an already implanted pregnancy. It creates an environment inside the uterus where there's no lining for an egg and sperm to get together. This happens all the time for people that get an egg and sperm together, that doesn't implant and just passes through and you have a cycle. That is a different IUD than a copper IUD. A copper IUD has zero hormone in it. That copper is irritating to the lining of your uterus, which makes it an irritant. It's toxic. So your lining is like, Jumanji, something's in here. It builds all this crazy crap all around somebody's uterus, and their lining is super thick. Hi, baby. Hi. How are you? We're talking about something
she's tired, but she wants to be in here with me instead of in the other room with her papa, okay. Even though her papa's home.
I love that little queen. She's sit right there. That's totally fine. You leave her right there. So anywho's, so it makes a toxic, horrible Jumanji uterine lining that is like poison to an egg and sperm. So there's no hormone in it, but the consequence of having a big, thick, horrible Jumanji growth in your uterus is, guess what your cycle is going to do? Have Jumanji falling out of you, 7 to 10 heavy day cycle, as opposed to your Mirena or Liletta or other progesterone-based IUD, where we talked your lining into going away, so it didn't have anything for an egg and sperm to implant into. So guess what that cycle is like? Nothing.
Okay, so why would people get the copper? Because they think it's not hormonal?
Yes, because they think that it's not hormonal. And I'm just really opposed to hormone. I'm happy for you, but this hormone is not setting through your system. And it doesn't. And for people who have high blood pressure, diabetes, thyroid problems, strokes, heart attacks, you can put a Mirena IUD in because it's progesterone only and it's locally based. So the reason why people put that IUD in, I really, honestly, just speaking as Janae, I have no idea. I ask them, I'm like, why is it you want a 7 to 10 heavy day cycle again? I just don't want hormones. Okay, noted. But most of them, probably 90% of people who get that put in, come back to see me after about 6 months and are like, mother of God, I'm bleeding to death. I'm like, okay. Now, I will, full disclosure, I have probably 5 patients, and I've been doing this 20 years. I have probably 5 patients who have a completely regular cycle on it. They don't bleed heavy. It's just like their normal cycle. And they're like, yeah, this is totally fine. So if somebody wants to try it and see what happens, you don't have good odds, but every once in a while it does happen that you'll just have kind of a decent cycle. That IUD gets put in the office. We put them in 14-year-olds. We give you a little bit of Advil, ibuprofen, it cramps a little bit. If you've had a baby before or something's come out through your uterus, you don't need anything to soften your cervix. We just, takes about 5 minutes, go back to work or go back to school. There's 2 little strings that hang out of it so you can reach inside there to feel to make sure it's still there, and that's how we pull it out. And because you're still ovulating, whenever you want to get pregnant, you just pull it out maybe 2 months before you want to get pregnant again to give yourself a chance to build a lining back, and then you're good to go because you already know when you're ovulating.
I'm under the impression that one is much more expensive than the other.
With the Affordable Care Act, if you have insurance, that because it's FDA approved, it should cover it. So if you don't, and you're just paying for it out of pocket, I can't tell you exactly how much it costs, but it's about $1,200 probably back before Affordable Care Act for a Mirena. In Ohio, I don't know how much it costs other places.
For either one, the copper or the plastic.
Right. But it was well over $1,000. It wasn't like $50. It was like well over $1,000.
Okay, so this is covered for people who are on insurance
or not. If you have state Medicaid insurance, absolutely, it's covered.
Dr. Janae, is there anything else that my audience needs to know about contraception that, like, I mean, are condoms still like a thing that you're like,
condoms are not
all the time?
I mean, I tell girls all the time, you should know if that dick is in your vagina, you should know either where it was and if you don't put a condom on it, like it's not, we don't even think about condoms as birth control really anymore. We think about condoms more as STD protection for people because they're only about 85% effective. I mean, and let's be clear, I know some women who poke holes in their condoms all the time for their boyfriends because they're trying to get pregnant. Oh, I absolutely do know that. Or they break, and guess what? You didn't know it broke until you were like, yeah, what? It's broke, and then it's broke, like you don't know till it's too late. So because it's not effective, I wouldn't use it only by itself. Or I tell people condoms and happy time on the outside. He should be able to control that enough to be on the outside. So just in case it is broken, you reduce your chances of having, a full blast of sperm into your vagina. But the main thing you want to think about with contraception is it's giving you power and choice to decide when it is that you want to initiate or not initiate your family, if that's what you want to do or not do. So you want to take multiple things in consideration, including how honestly responsible are you or time conscious are you to be able to maintain the goal, which is getting pregnant when you want to or not when you want to. If you can't, Janae Davis, pick your kids up on time from daycare, you can't remember to take a pill every day, then be honest. It's not the pill's fault that you forgot it. It's your fault you forgot it. So don't blame birth control like it didn't work. It does work but you have to use it the correct way. So for people who are, hey, we definitely don't want anything for, how many ever years, long acting reversible contraception is an amazing option, which is why it's first line by ACOG, which would be some type of an IUD.
I love it. And now I know what I'm going to get. Thank you, Dr. Janae.
I would get a Mirena IUD, girl, or a Liletta, Mirena or Liletta, whichever one will get paid for. One's got black strings, one's got blue strings, but you don't care about that.
Oh, that's the only difference? Okay, that's good. This is good to know.
That is literally the only, they're exactly the same size, same medicine, same everything.
Talk.
You want to talk now?
She's saying don't talk, Mama.
Oh.
She's saying don't talk. But, I feel like we covered this topic.
I feel like we covered it.
I feel like we did, and I didn't even have to ask you any questions. I just sat over here and I giggled.
You was having a moment. You're having a day, and you need to do some self-care, and you're going to go snuggle this baby. And listen, we lift each other up, queen. I got you. Don't worry about it.
Janae, you made me feel better that day that we recorded. I was having an emo day, and you helped me that day, and you helped us all learn, because now I know what to get for my birth control. And thank you for your time, and thank you for keeping on coming on here to educate us. All right, my friends, today, the day this episode is dropping is our last day of early bird registration for teacher training, Silks 1. It's my pre-launch, so it's a whopping $300 off just because I'm testing the format. Excited to have you guys and, meet you in person, see you in real life, get to know you. And thank you so much to Asa Watkins, sound engineer. Honor me with the 5-star rating and a review where you get your podcasts. Just smash that 5 stars so quick, but it means so much to me. And if you'd like to come on the podcast, if you think that you have a story or anything that would be intriguing for this audience, Carrie at wrapyourheadaroundsilks.com is how you find me. It's just me over here. I'm running this whole business. So if you are emailing, you're talking to me. All right, my friends, have an amazing week. Over and out. This is Expecting Aerialist with the Digital Podcast.